Okay, everyone, I'm Brandon Marcello with Auburn Undercover. Hopefully, this audio stream and video is working now. I hope you can see me and hear me. That would be fantastic. I hope everyone is having a good day. I think I figured out the problem. Hopefully, this is working. If you can hear me, please comment, let me know. This has been a trial and error. I thought I had it all figured out, and then I didn't, and now I think I do. Everything's good. Thank goodness. Well, day one, you're used to having some issues and problems. Now we've got it figured out. And the reason why the audio wasn't working was because of a simple, stupid thing I did earlier this morning and trying to improve the audio. It was something I should not have done, simply put. So there you go. But here we are. Is the video good? Is the audio good? I hope so. Day one of preseason camp is finally here for Auburn. It is July 31st, not even August yet, and we're talking football. We have got plenty of coverage coming up on auburnundercover.com. Now we got people saying it's too loud. Hopefully it's not too loud. If so, let me turn it down a couple decibels. Is that better? Okay, just kidding. He's kidding. So now I'm going to fix it back. I'm very gullible. Okay, so everybody, thank you for joining me. I'm burning up under the studio lights for the last 45 minutes trying to figure this out. I'm obviously not a TV guy, but whoops, sorry. See, bumped the mic. Obviously, I'm not ready to go. But anyway, thanks, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section. Again, I'm Brandon Marcello, senior editor and writer for auburnundercover.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. We're going to be doing this much more throughout the season and preseason camp in the mornings, kind of a briefing of some sort. Auburn, of course, hits the practice fields today a little bit before 3 p.m. Central Time. We'll be out there, of course, covering the action. Plenty of video. We will focus on them quarterbacks, of course, and everybody else who's there, who's not there, who's injured, and all those sort of things. The one thing you'll need to notice is that when we go out there is today the freshmen will be off to the side doing their own thing. Actually just standing around more or less, watching everything. They will not be participating in the early portion of practice. So if you're wondering like how so-and-so doing their first action, you're not going to get an answer because they're not doing anything. But I am welcome to any questions you guys might have as we start this off. We're going to be doing more of a like a newsy type thing where we discuss and be opinionated, myself and Michael Nizelik, in the future. Thank goodness we got the audio and video figured out here today ahead of time. Otherwise, it could have been a big disaster. Savion wants to know about Tervius Whitlow and how is he looking. Listen, they haven't practiced yet, but he's a guy that they've been impressed with. He's practiced at running back. He's practiced at not tailback, running back and receiver. Fast guy. I don't know if he will play this season, however, but late addition to the recruiting class was a 3-star guy out of Lafayette County. Or is it Lafayette County or Lafayette here in Alabama? I'm so used to saying Lafayette from Mississippi. How much input would Al Borges have with the offense, asked Diego. Not much. He'll be there as a sounding board. He can't coach, players or teams, but he can coach the coaches, so to speak. Any lingering injuries from the spring? Nothing substantial, we've been told, but things could have changed over the last 2 weeks. We'll find out today once we get out there at practice and see with our own eyes. We get about 20 minutes of open practice, which is just pretty much them stretching, but we can gain at least information on injuries and things of that sort. So we'll have that. Again, practice starts a little bit before 3. We'll be back inside probably around 3:20, and we'll have updates out the wazoo, so to speak, as soon as we get back inside. Woody Barrett's no longer on the roster, Kevin. He left. How likely is Willis to redshirt, or do you think they'll have some packages for him? I think that's still up in the air. The next 2 weeks will tell a lot about whether he's going to be able to play this season. These first 2 weeks are really focused on the young players and figuring out who can contribute. And if he does very well and just can't let go of maybe being the backup quarterback, or at least being someone they can use in packages they feel like could really help them out, they'll pull the red shirt off him and play him. But as it stands right now, I think that's completely unknown even to the coaches. They got to see how he does today. Today is shorts and jerseys and helmets, I believe. So, not wearing the Batman hat, representing 24/7 today. It's like an off red, which Gus Malzahn doesn't like. He doesn't like this hat. He's pointed it out to me, but hey, it's all I've got. It's this or a camo hat, and I'm not a camo guy. I'm not a guy who goes out, you know, hunting or whatever. I'm not going to wear a camo hat. Is Jason Smith really the hype? Worth the hype? So are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about there. Is the defensive back from Georgia there? Carlito Gonzalez? We'll find out. We'll find out. Chandler wants to know, good question too. Will quarterbacks go live at any point in camp? Don't know yet. I'd honestly be quite surprised if they do. At least the two players going for the starting job, so to speak, and that's, of course, Sean White and Jarrett Stidham. I doubt they would at all. I don't think they want to risk injury. Plus, they know what they can both do. How's Jamel Dean doing and progressing? Will he play this season? I think he will play this season. I think he's going to contend for a starting job at corner. Remember, he was in line to be the starting cornerback before he was injured last season, and freshman Javarius Davis had to step in. So, yeah, he's in contention as long as he stays healthy. Will it be Malik Miller or Devin Barrett at third-string running back, asks Kevin. I love Malik Miller. That's the guy I would say would be the third guy. But what do I know? Is Petway's leg 100%? It should be. I mean, listen, it's been 8 months since the Sugar Bowl when he was still actually having issues with that quad. Over under 3 weeks to name a starting quarterback. Oh, under. I take the under all day, Diego. I think that they can name a starting quarterback as early as after the first scrimmage, which would be day 6 or 7. But my guess would be they name it after the second scrimmage, which would be right before Fan Day on August 19th. So it'd be mid-August. Will McClain be a starter receiver? I think he's definitely in line for that. But remember, they're going to move guys around. I mean, just because you're a receiver playing in the X or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be your number one position the entire time. They're going to move guys around. Yeah, Glenn, I kind of answered that running backs question. I think that Malik Miller is a guy that you have to look at playing behind Cameron Martin and Kerryon Johnson and Cameron Petway. Though I personally think Malik Miller is better than Cam Martin, but what do I know? Brent wants to know, you've been on other beats and beat writers talk. That's true. Compare your access at Auburn to other schools in light of the LSU closing practices. I've covered Arkansas. I've covered Mississippi State. Now I've covered Auburn. And I've actually been to a couple of Alabama practices. Back when I was covering Mississippi State, because I went over there during a bye week or something like that to cover, because Mississippi State was undefeated going into that game. That was 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. But anyway, access has changed more over time, more so than beat to beat. Mississippi State was very comparable to what Auburn does now, which is, you can talk to the coordinators, talk to some players, but you really have no input as to who you get to talk to. Though at Mississippi State, we did get more input as to who we could talk to. No one-on-ones there, really, with players, which was bad, and it's bad here at Auburn. Arkansas, but this was, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Bobby Petrino was the head coach, and pretty much everything was open. In the spring, I think every practice was open, and in August, I think the first 2 weeks of practices were open, the entire practice. But that's not the case at Auburn, obviously. We get 20 minutes of stretching 4 times over the next 2 weeks, and that's it. And then after that, it's completely closed all the way up until if there's a bowl practice. TD Moultrie and Big Cat Bryant, will they make an impact this year, asks AJ. Big Cat, I think, will make an impact. Moultrie, I think, has a definite chance. I think they need to find a pass rusher, and they're going to throw everything they can to try and figure that out here in preseason camp. How is Sean White, asks Robert. Everything we're hearing is good. His camp's been very closed. Not really talking to anybody. Then again, maybe it's just me. Maybe I've made them mad for some reason. I don't know why. But like his quarterback's coach, Ken Mastroli, has not returned my messages. Neither is Sean's family. So we'll see. But they're giving him a shot to be the starting quarterback. But I think the writing's on the wall that he's not going to be the guy. Starting defensive line, asks Phil. Derek Brown, Dontavius Russell at the tackle spots. Defensive end, Marlon Davidson, of course, though Paul James III is going to eat into his time, I think, if he stays healthy. And then I think Jeffrey Holland at the buck position. The question is who really kind of backs up Holland there? Do they go with a 2-man rotation there, or they're splitting time, or do they mainly go with Holland? My true guess of run-pass ratio. I mean, listen, if you go back through time, Auburn at one point was actually running the ball nearly 70% of the time under Gus Malzahn. I don't see them abandoning the run. Chip Lindsey's even said as much, and I trust his word. I would say it's going to be 55-45 run-pass, 55% run. I don't see them going... I don't see them passing more than running. Alan wants to know if Daniel Carlson's little brother, Anders, will play. We'll see. If Ian Shannon can't get it done at punter, you might see them play Anders Carlson. It's very possible. And I agree, Kevin. I could see a 64 run-pass ratio. But if you think it's going to be 60% pass, I've got news for you. It's probably not going to happen. What position is Steven Roberts this year? He's playing mainly. I think he's going to be playing mainly at safety. But listen, these coaches, they figure out a plan a couple of weeks before they go into camp, and then they start moving guys around. So we'll see. How different is Chip and Rhett as offensive coordinators? I think Chip will have more say-so in this offense, Michael. And will obviously be calling the plays. I mean, Rhett was calling the plays, but I think Gus is going to trust him more implicitly. Is Stidham worth the hype? We rolled big on this, asked Corey. He better be, or jobs will be at stake, or they are at stake anyway, for the coaching staff. Kind of depth is in the offensive line. Pretty deep. I saw where Pat Dye said it's the best offensive line he's seen. I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's haven't been any practices yet. There haven't been any games yet. They're still trying to figure out what's going to go on right guard and left guard. I think it's way too early to be saying that. I assume Kerryon Johnson's ankle is fine, but you know what they say about assuming. I haven't heard anything. How is John Funk a third adjusting? That's going to be a good question once they get camp started. Byron Cowart, over under on 20 tackles this season. That's a difficult one. I must say under. This has got to be the year, though. It doesn't happen this year. It's not happening for him. Thanks, Michael. Sorry for the last 2 or 3 tests that just didn't go right, guys. I'm sorry. Neil, I just hit on the defensive line earlier. I'm sorry about that. Michael, recruiting questions are probably best served for saving for Keith Niebuhr, our recruiting writer. He sometimes does Facebook Live chats, but also go to auburnundercover.com. Go to the Botagetta message board on our website and go ask him directly. He'll answer your question without much hesitation or time running off the clock. So that's a good thing about subscribing. And we've got a great subscription plan going on right now. You get 3 months free. Pretty much you get the entire season free if you buy 1 month. It's a great deal. I'd go get it. Great intel from myself, Philip Marshall, who's been doing this for years, Keith Niebuhr in recruiting, and of course Michael Neislick, who joined our staff helping out with football and also doing basketball for us. And basketball is about to start up and go to Italy August 6th, and their first game's August 9th. So a lot of stuff going on. Corey wants to know, how does Auburn look compared to the last 4 years? This is the deepest team they've had since Gus Malzahn's been here. They need to win. That's the way I'll put it. Phil wants to know if I'm doing Facebook Live after practice this year. Yes, we'll be doing Facebook Lives after practices. We will continue doing that. What about Calvin Ashley, asked Taylor. Are we stacked enough up front to where he might redshirt? I think he might redshirt. I think a lot of people are maybe expecting him to play, but I think he's going to end up redshirting. He came in at 350 pounds. They say he's lost 20 pounds. I think Darius James is going to be left tackle, but what do I know? Things could change, but I just don't know why you'd want to burn Calvin Ashley's redshirt at this point when you can develop him a little bit more. I know he's a 5-star guy. So unless Darius James and they just kind of falters and they don't quite know what to do there in August, I would try. If I was the coach, I'd try my best to redshirt Calvin Ashley. Clarence wants to know, how do you sign up? Just simply go to auburn.247sports.com. There's a story up that says act now, get 3 free months. Click on that and then follow the links to subscribe. Or there should be like a banner in green saying subscribe now. So just go to auburn.247sports.com. You'll see the link. Or check my Twitter feed. I've tweeted out the link to subscribe earlier today. I retweeted Auburn 24/7 on Twitter. So it's easy to subscribe. Real easy deal. Who's behind Kerryon Johnson and playing time? We won't know. I mean, I know a lot of people want to know, like, right now what's going on. They haven't started practice yet. But I would say it'd end up being Malik Miller and Cam Martin. Thanks, Clarence. Thank you. I hope you subscribe. I hope you try us out. At least try us out. And if you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. Like $12 for 4 months is a darn good deal. You won't get a better deal out there. As much content as we have. In addition to things we do with Lore Eagle, where we look back in the past for Auburn with War Eagle Reader, who works with us. The X's and O's breakdowns you'll be getting throughout the year from War Room Eagle. And then, of course, I think Rob Pate, former Auburn defensive back, will be writing columns for us once again this year. In addition to Philip Marshall, myself, Keith Niebuhr, and Michael Neislick. It's the biggest and greatest staff covering Auburn. Which wide receivers will play the biggest role, asked Dustin. Nate Craig Myers, Kyle Davis. I really like Marquise McLean, but we got to see him produce first. He redshirted last season. Eli Stove is a guy, but I have a hard time figuring out what exactly his role will be in the offense. But those are my guys. And maybe John Franklin III, but I haven't heard anything really amazing about him at receiver yet. But practices haven't started yet. That's just based off the captain practices, the voluntary workouts that are put together by the team captains during the summer. No, Chris, no bonus for people signing up. I just want people to join. I don't get any money for that. What's the deal with Devin Barrett? What do you mean, the deal? He's probably going to redshirt. Maybe play special teams. Johnny wants to know about Jason Smith. He kind of fell off the radar last season and didn't really recover. But new offense, new day, he could possibly see some time. I like the way he runs. John Franklin III John Franklin III, Nick, could be that type of guy who does the Ontario McCaleb roll, speed sweep stuff. My question is, he's just so careless with the football. I don't know if you want to risk it all that much. Maybe you can find someone else who's just as fast, maybe a little bit slower. John Franklin III is probably the fastest player on the team, but, I mean, listen, he fumbles the ball like 1 out of every 5 times, it seems like. I think Nate Craig Myers, Michael, will probably end up being the leading receiver this season. I really like how he stretches the field for them. We saw it in the spring game. If I got a good feel in the new OC, I will after the first 3 weeks of the season. More RPOs, run pass options. That's been the thing that's being said all throughout the offseason. If Jarrett Stidham rushes for 500 yards, Clarence, I don't expect that, I guess is what I'm saying. 3,000 yards passing, sure, maybe. But 500 yards rushing, I don't see that happen. Good question, Keith. Will Casey Dunn play any at center? I don't know. He's kind of been the wild card. Hasn't been talked about a lot. They brought him in to help out Austin Golson. I thought that maybe Casey Dunn could come in and play center, and Austin Golson could maybe move to left tackle if needed. There's a lot of pieces that can move around that offensive line here these first 2 weeks of preseason camp. The way I've got it now is from the left to right would be Darius James, Mike Horton, who was their sixth man along the offensive line. I think he'll move up to left guard. Center's Austin Golson, right guard, Wilson Bell, the transfer from Florida State, and then right tackle would be Braden Smith. That's how I see it right now going into camp. Alex Finch asks, will Auburn win in Baton Rouge this year? I've predicted it. I think they win there for the first time since 1999. I know I'm going on a limb a little bit. I also think they're going to beat Clemson. I've predicted 10 wins. I think they might trip up during that 3-game road streak, but they could trip up obviously at LSU, but it's the first game. I think they're going to end up losing to someone maybe they shouldn't. Yes, there will be that law of pre-snap motion with this offense. What Gus team does yours team closest resemble, in my opinion? Defensively, last season's. Offensively, it's going to be a mix between 2014 and 2009, if that makes any sense. It'll be like a mix of 2014, 2009 offensively. Do I think Braden Smith will be as good as a right tackle as I do at guard? Yes. Braden Smith's all SEC for a reason. He'll be very good this year. Who will be the punt returner? They've got to get an explosive guy back there. Steven Roberts could very well be him. But it'll be interesting to see who's working at punt return here the next few days of practice. They really took a step back at punt return last season. Usually they've had an explosive game, and they didn't have that last season. Did not really have it. Hope I'm coming in through clearly. Someone's mowing outside next door. Carlton Davis, over under 4 interceptions. Under, I'll say. Starting tight end this season, I think it'll be Jalen Harris. You think they should be used more efficiently? They need to be used more efficiently in the red zone. When Auburn's very successful scoring offense, it's because they've had a really good tight end in the red zone. C.J. Uzomah, obviously being the last one. Does Auburn have a first-team All-SEC linebacker this season? It could be Darrell Williams. Could end up being him. Renard asked about Jamel Dean, who I've talked about earlier. Yes, I love the kid. Just got to stay healthy. I think he could end up being a star. I think he could unseat Javaris Davis at the other cornerback spot. And, of course, yes, Lutz at tight end. That's been Gus's 2 good tight ends, Philip Lutzenkirchen and C.J. Uzomah over the years. I think Sal Cannella Garrett is going to end up lining up in the slot a little bit more. I don't think he's going to be putting his hand on the ground and blocking, like a typical tight end. I think Jalen Harris will be doing more of that. But you could see Chandler Cox putting his hand in the dirt a little bit too. But we'll see. We will see. Thanks, Glenn. I appreciate it. Glenn predicting 11-1 or a 10-2 season with wins over Georgia and Alabama. That would be a heck of a season. That would put Auburn in the championship race, obviously. I just don't think I don't think they're going to beat both this year. True freshmen as impact players. Big Cat Bryant, maybe at Buck. If Tyrone Truesdale didn't come in overweight, I'd say maybe him. But they've got so much depth at tackle right now. Who you guys think? TD Moultrie's a guy, obviously, but I think Big Cat's going to maybe outshine him. I agree, Renard. That's the thing. I know everybody wants answers, and coaches don't even know these answers. Practices have got to start, but I'm trying to big picture it, as Gus Malzahn would say. Wes asked about the offensive line. We're coming to the end of this video because we're starting to get a lot of repeat questions. Everybody asked about third running back and everything. We already been answering that. I've answered that twice. How's the offensive line looking? Fine, but I know you're saying like how they're looking. They haven't practiced yet. I have a feeling Whitlow was surprised somewhere. Spencer said, listen, when I talked to Whitlow back in the spring, I went and visited him at his high school with his parents. He was saying, I guarantee you I will play as a freshman. And do so on offense. The kid's really confident. Comes from a smaller school, obviously. He did everything there. But that's a big jump from small town football to SEC football. But the guy's so athletic, I could see it happening. Let's talk depth. Secondary, asked Corey. I think they're fine at cornerback, but the weak link, you said it's a weak link. I think the weak link's at safety as far as depth. Aaron wants to know anything you could share or just discuss. Mood for private get-together. Gus has some reporters. No, I'm not going to do that. I know some other people shared some stuff, but it was all off the record, and so I'm keeping it all off the record. But nothing crazy happened, if that's what you're wondering. It was just everybody sat around, had dinner, talked about more of the things than football, and then the night ended, and everybody left. It's kind of just putting human faces to the questions. But I'm not going to share what was said there. There, some stories that were told that I'm sure wouldn't want to be retold or whatever, but it was an interesting, good time. Had a good time, and then that was it. Went home, and in fact, I probably couldn't remember half the stuff that was said. It was just one of those type of things when you get together, people, you talk. Plus, the beat writers are just talking to each other. We had a cookout here with the beat writers at my house over the weekend and bring everybody in. Not everybody made it, but those who did had a fun time. I'm told. Maybe they're lying to me. I cooked burgers, hot dogs, and the wife did an incredible job hosting everybody. Do I think Carlson takes over both punting and kicking duties this fall? He better not, because his leg got weak near the end of the 2014 season. That's why they lost the Outback Bowl. They do not want that. Justin, again, wants to know about Al Borges. He's not going to have a huge role. He's going to be coaching up the coaches, just giving them some feedback. He can't coach players. He'll be in the meeting room sitting there helping break down film. I don't think he'll be involved in the game day stuff very much. I think he's just patiently waiting. Let's go get another job. Trevon Leonard, great question, Cole. Defensive back comes in. Trey Matthews says that's a guy that really stuck out to him when I spoke to Trey Matthews at SEC Media Days, or I guess all of us did. He said that that Trayvon was a guy they really liked. Safety position's really, really thin, to Corey. A third guy, fourth guy's got to step up. So, okay. Well, I think that's going to end it here. Thanks you for joining me after we had those audio problems earlier. I'm sorry about that. But this is day one, preseason camp. We've got everything figured out Facebook Live. We will have a practice report at auburnundercover.com as soon as practice ends. We will post something up. We'll have plenty of photos, a photo gallery up on the website of all the players you want to see. We'll be updating that throughout the afternoon and evening. We'll have stories as well, of course, plenty of stories. Live updates from Gus Malzahn's press conference after practice. And, of course, we'll be doing a Facebook Live between practice And when Gus Malzahn speaks to the media, we'll kind of go over what we saw out there and give some thoughts. Myself and Michael Neislick. So check that out. It'll be mid-afternoon, sometime after 3 p.m. Central Time. Practice starts at about 2:50, 2:55 p.m. Central Time. We'll be out there. We're not allowed to tweet or do anything like that out there, but once practice is over, we'll run upstairs and start posting information as we see it. And, of course, we'll post some video as well of the quarterbacks, Jarrett Stidham, Sean White, and Malik Willis. So a lot of stuff coming your way. Go to auburnundercover.com. We have a great deal going on. Sign up for it. I signed up for Auburn Undercover before I even worked there. It's that good. Go there. You get 3 months free if you just purchase 1 month. So you get the entire season free. Entire season for about $12. You can't beat that. Go subscribe today. We have free content, of course, but the VIP stuff is the intel, the stuff you don't hear from anyone else, the behind closed doors things. We got really good deep sources and some good stuff. We break news like crazy. But go to auburnundercover.com or auburn.247sports.com to see much more. And, fun times ahead. Keep it tuned to auburnundercover.com and follow me on Twitter at @bmarcello for much more coverage as we move ahead in preseason camp, and this being day 1.